Hey travelers, welcome to Tripping with Amadi. If you are new to my channel, I revisit some of my fun and exciting times during my travel while I help you out on yours. In today's video, this is a continuation of the series of me planning my amazing 30th birthday trip to Zanzibar. I have figured out that that is where I plan on going. So we are going to look at 11 websites that specify or specialize in finding flight tickets, and we're going to see which ones are the best, which ones have great deals, and what is just user friendly. So let's get on to it. The first is going to be Skyscanner. So I would say this is one of my favorites when I'm starting off my search for flights. So Skyscanner helps me to find and understand the average prices of flights from specific destinations. So let's do the pros and cons. So the pros of this website is that it has a price calendar, it has detailed flight snapshots, it provides a choice of all month prices displayed, and a price chart. And I really like the Explore Everywhere feature. You can see the cheapest prices for anywhere around the world. For my cons, it's not a one-stop shop. So it is a second-party host, so you'll have to click outside the website to do the official purchase that they might do. And also, there are additional charges and fees that possibly might happen. But let's talk about prices. So the cheapest price that I did find on Skyscanner leaving from New York to Zanzibar was going to be $1,032. So it's pretty decent. Let's do Hopper. So I would say the main summary of Hopper is that it's popular for freezing prices. And the pros about Hopper is that it has a pleasing layout. It's very colorful, very user-friendly. It has a color-coded calendar from lowest to high, and it also freezes prices. So about the freezing prices, so you cannot do it on the actual website. You have to download the app to freeze the prices, and it's only freezing the price for a certain amount of days. And on top of that, you also have to make sure that you are putting some form of deposit on that. So it does go to the ticket if you decide to get that frozen price, but that's just something for you to know if freezing prices is something that you're looking for and something that you want to do. So it's not just flights as well. You can also do this for hotels, so that's pretty cool. The cons is that I'm not a fan of the flight layout. I don't feel like it gives me a good enough snapshot of what type of flight that I'm looking for. And when we're talking about the price of this particular trip, it's gonna be $1,276. Skiplagged. I think Skiplagged is known for their carry-on flights. So what I mean with carry-on flights, it's normally popular for people who don't want to check in a bag. So they do some mix and matching. So it's easy if you only have a carry-on and not an actual checked bag. And to be honest, there are some airlines that do not like Skiplagged for that particular reason, because you do not check a bag with Skiplagged. So some pros. They have a price calendar, which is colorful, and it goes from the cheapest to the most expensive. The cons is that most of the flights do not come with checked bags, like I mentioned. I'm not the biggest fan of the snapshot of flights, and I would like to see more information. But when we're talking about prices, the price was $1,104. Google Flights. So for Google Flights, I would say the main purpose for Google Flights is a snapshot of possibilities. And what I mean of that is that it shows you what are some possible routes and routes that you can go for your flight. So the pros is it has a price calendar and a price grid. So it not only shows you on dates in a calendar form, but it also shows you on like a bar graph form, which is really helpful. I also like their filter preferences. You can play a lot more with the Google filters, and they also have Price Watch. So Price Watch price watch is really helpful because maybe you do see a flight that you like and you're like, I don't necessarily know if this is the price that I'm comfortable in. You can sign up for a price watch and they'll do it for you. Like they'll email it to you and saying like, hey, this price actually went down. So that's really cool. Cons. It doesn't provide a lot of levels for cheapest options. So what they tend to do is show the top 3 best options. And best normally is a combination of price as well as time. So the least amount of layovers, the least amount of time, and the cheapest in price. In addition, it is a third-party site. So when I did look up a price for Zanzibar, it came out at $986. So that's really good. Kayak. So for Kayak, I think it's a good place for packages. So that means like bundling your car as well as your flight as well as your hotel. So Kayak is a good place for that. So pros. I like that I can see all my airport options in one search. So what I mean by that is I can literally click all the possible airports that I want to leave out of and all the possible airports that I want to arrive in. So it creates a more streamlined search and it's really helpful. So I appreciate it. They also have a price calendar that specifies the average price for each range, low, high. So that's really good and it's colorful, y'all. I like color. It's a joyous, happiest time when I'm looking for flights. So I want it to be colorful. Like I want to be pleasing to the eye. And I will say, a con is that their homepage is kind of cluttery. So I feel like it's a little bit sensory overload for me. Note that it has a similar interface with Cheapo Air and Skyscanner, so that's just something to mention. And when we talk about the price, so the price for the trip was going to be $1,155. So that was the price that I found for the trip. Cheapo Air. So Cheapo Air is like a OG. So it's one of the first websites that were used for cheap flights. Like now there's so many websites and we're going to get to a good amount of them. There's so many websites that specify in finding cheap flights. But Cheapo Air is an OG. Pros are that it displays alternative flights for different days. You don't have to search for them. They just give you that option and they like highlight it in a different color so you know that it's different. Another highlight is that it recommends flights for you. So that's good. And then there's also a sliding bar feature for the filters. Once again, a little bit user friendly compared to the other filtering options for other websites. A con. It's too much advertisement and too much ads and graphics and like chat with us and all of that stuff. And it's really, really, really overwhelming. Like it's a lot. Once again, sensory overload for me. And that's just a preference, you know? And they also don't have a price calendar. And I think a price calendar is really important. Momondo. So I think this is not like very heard of, so that's kind of like my tagline for this website. A lot of people don't know about it, but here's some pros. So once again, it has a price calendar that specifies the average prices for each range, i.e. low and high. It's also colorful, and then it has flight insights. So that's really helpful. Some cons is that I don't have a lot of real cons for it. To be honest, it's very similar to other websites and it's not bringing anything new. So once again, it's an alternative if you want to check other flights, but I don't really feel like it's bringing anything special or unique. And for the price that I found for Momondo, it was $12.42. Let's get to Hotwire. So Hotwire, this is going to be very quick. I searched for Zanzibar and they didn't have flights to Zanzibar on Hotwire. And I'm like, am I searching this incorrectly? And I looked at all the airlines that they fly to, and Zanzibar was not on there. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm moving on. Bye, Hotwire. Orbitz. So Orbitz is, I would say, a one-stop shop. So I would definitely compare it similar to like a kayak. And the pros is that I see prices for other days. I know that's not a lot, but that's still helpful. Knowing your alternatives, especially if you are not dead set on a specific date, knowing the other options are important. In terms of cons, it does not have a price calendar. It's not providing anything special, and honestly, it's kind of underwhelming. It's kind of underwhelming, so it is what it is. And in terms of the price for the trip, it actually was a little bit higher than the other prices that I saw, and that was $12.84. Kiwi. So my tag for this was boring. So Kiwi wasn't bringing anything up, standing out. They have a price calendar, which is cool. And also, I mentioned that it's not a real reflection of prices offered. So you will see prices. So that is a con, that it's not a reflection of actual prices offered. So you will see a price, and then like you will see when you click on it, it's actually higher than the price that it was displayed. So if you are using Kiwi, just be careful and be aware of that. Because you don't want to be like, oh yeah, this is the price that I'm going for, and in reality it's actually more. That's kind of disappointing. And that's just a tip to know for majority of the websites. They're going to show you the price that's not included with the taxes, not included with the check bags, not included with the service fee, depending on if it's a second party or third party website. And then the price that I got for it was $12.68. Scott Sheep's Flights. Well, actually, that's what I knew it as Scott Sheep's Flights. But they did do a name change, so they're actually called Going. I actually like Scott Sheep Flights better, and that's a personal opinion. So if you don't subscribe, or there's no particular deal that you're looking for, I don't know, it's not really helpful to buy a flight. Like, I think you have to have a subscription, and I think you have to be cool with any deal that they provide for you. I don't think this is the best place when you're looking for something particular and specific. You are kind of like just given the flights or the deals that they provide for you. But I will say, if there is information in terms of like specific questions or topics around travel, they have bomb articles. I will say that I have utilized their articles before to make videos similar to this that's helpful for your traveling needs. So if you want to learn more, go there. Expedia. So my tag for this would be like good customer service. When I went to Mexico, there was an issue in terms of me purchasing a car for rental. And they had really good customer service. They gave me some of my money back. It still ended up being a thing, but I will say the Expedia did the best that they could do. So I definitely would say that they have good customer service. In terms of pros, price tracker. So they also have a price tracker. Once again, we stand for a price tracker. Also, just something simple, but just once again, we're thinking about streamlining. You don't have to exit the page to preview the flight itinerary, which I really appreciate as someone who is trying to like streamline the amount of tabs that they have on their web browser. That's helpful. In terms of cons, I don't think that it's visually pleasing in my opinion. And I do have to put this disclaimer when I'm talking about the price that it provides. I did look at the flights like a month later compared to all of the other websites, so the price is going to be a little bit higher. So the price for Zanzibar was $14.28. So definitely $200 more, but it was a month later. So just put that in perspective. So now let's talk about, in my opinion, what I feel like the best out of the bunches are. So for best homepage navigation, I definitely will vote Hopper. For best tools, I definitely would say Kayak and Google. For best prices, for the actual flight of the trip would be Cheapo Air, Skiplagged, and Google Flights. And then in terms of best flight snapshots, as in like information that you see without having to click around, I would say Expedia, because you do not have to exit out of anything. It gives you the information straight there. And for me, the best price watcher will be Google. You get emails, so that's very helpful. So hopefully this information is helpful for you. Hopefully you learned some stuff, and feel free to ask any questions that you need down below at the bottom. And make sure you stay around and click on some other stuff too. Bye!